I wanted to mention this story that was written about Ryan Reynolds in his own home country, Canada.
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Film Talk. I'm Tasha DeFleur, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. I just watched Andy over at Popcorn Planet, one of his latest videos, and I was really amused. I would recommend everyone to go and watch it. He's talking about TMZ's huge embarrassment that they're trying to cover up for. They were caught lying and then trying to cover it up again, and it just like really made my day. As you know, I feel like TMZ has been so biased towards Blake Lively throughout this whole thing. So to see that they actually get caught up in their own lies, trying to get their way out of it, and now it's everywhere, just really made my days. So if you missed the story, TMZ was reporting on Charlie Kirk and what happened to him, and you could hear people cheering and laughing and applauding in the background. And they came out with an apology saying like, we're so sorry about this, but people in the background were watching. They were in another room watching a car chase. And that's why they were so excited and were applauding and yelling and cheering. Anyways, this amazing internet sleuth called Peggy Bolton did all the research. And she found out that during that car chase, they announced that Charlie Kirk was dead. And that's the car chase that they were watching at TMZ when they were yelling and screaming and applauding.
Exhibit A, the alleged car chase that they were watching.
Right there on the banner below, you can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead, Philip.
Well, I wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is the breaking news that we are likely about to have with ABC News.
Exhibit B, the giant clocks around their office.
It all makes them look like big liars. Anyways, Harvey was in front of the camera apologizing and saying, lying his ass off. And then on top of that, someone on X that used to work for TMZ said that this is typical of their behavior. They would act like this all the time. So he's not surprised that they were yelling and applauding when someone was announced dead that they didn't agree with politically. If you want more of that story, please go over to Andy at Popcorn Planet. He's explaining it really well. Before I get into more of the legal stuff, I wanted to mention this story that was written about Ryan Reynolds in his own home country, Canada, in the National Globe and Mail newspaper, which is huge. Thank you so much, Olga, for sending me this. I was really surprised when I read this. So this is a journalist who's saying this about Ryan Reynolds. In the newspaper, he says, I interviewed producer Ryan Reynolds and director Colin Hanks for their documentary, John Candy. I Like Me. That's the name of the movie. Conspicuously dressed in a Canadian lumberjack shirt, the tanned Reynolds did most of the talking, occasionally mentioning Candy. One nugget gleaned from the sit-down was that Candy's son, Christopher, hated the name of the documentary because his father did not, in fact, like himself. Too bad that they didn't scrap it. I Like Me would be a dandy title for a film about Reynolds. That's pretty harsh. Yeah, this whole thing aligns with what I spoke about the other day, that Ryan Reynolds is about to go on tour with this John Candy movie. And on the invite, it says, an evening with Ryan Reynolds and friends. And Ryan Reynolds' picture is bigger than John Candy's. And all the backlash that Ryan Reynolds keeps getting, he just keeps planting new stories. This one's my favorite today, where Ryan Reynolds said he personally called a journalist who said mean things about John Candy. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is such a nice guy. He really wanted to defend John Candy, whom he actually never even met. And now he's using John Candy's legacy to try and whitewash his own reputation. So if you watched my episode yesterday, I did say that the judge did not allow Wayfarer to depose Taylor Swift at such a late date. He doesn't allow the extension of time. He wants everything to be in order by the end of September, which is the end of discovery. He did allow, though, Blake Lively to get more time to depose Justin Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz, and Jamie Heath. I mean, it sucks that Taylor Swift isn't going to be deposed. I would have loved to see what she has to say about certain things, but this also doesn't mean that she can't be brought into the equation again. And yesterday, I maybe have sounded like, oh, all hope is out. I'm so depressed. I was a little depressed. But we have to keep the facts in mind here, you guys. The fact that the judge is giving Blake Lively these tiny little wins all the time doesn't necessarily mean that her case is getting any stronger. Thank you, Jean Marie, for sending me this Reddit post, which I think explains that very well. This person is saying that my read is the judge saw the case and knew it was a dud. He knows a good number of her causes won't survive summary judgment, and if any remain and it goes to trial, there's almost no way a jury anonymously votes for her. So he's making sure she has zero grounds to appeal on. The Wayfair people probably have 15 to 20 points, while she has zero. He has ruled contrary to his own prior rulings when she is asked. The judge knows how this will end. Well, I'm not sure about he knows that for sure, and he knows she'll probably appeal it. But the appellate courts are going to look at it and say, you won every jump ball, got every rebound, and you lost. How was that unfair? Denied. So basically what this post is saying is that the judge doesn't want to give Blake any grounds for appeal by making sloppy rulings. And that later she can't say that anything was unfair because she was giving all these opportunities to prove her claims and she still has no evidence. New York Times actually just filed again. I thought they were out of the equation. As you know, Justin Baldoni sued them for defamation and the lawsuit was dismissed by the judge back in June. But now New York Times is saying, hey, we want really out of this. The judge hasn't done a final ruling yet. So what this really means is that without that final ruling from the judge, which I thought was the case because he ruled it without prejudice, meaning that they can't really do anything about it in this court. And they want the judge to say, hey, case is closed. And if Baldoni and the Wayfair want to appeal, they can do that. They can't do that until the case is officially closed. I didn't know this. So they could actually still appeal the case against the New York Times. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're going to focus on defending themselves against Blake Lively now, but who knows? Anyways, yesterday was the Emmys. I didn't actually watch it. I've just been looking at some of the clips online. And of course, there's some controversy here and there. And I saw Parker Posey was there. And as I said before, she was really worried that the interview with me and Blake Lively was going to ruin her chances of winning an Emmy. She didn't win an Emmy. I don't know if it was because of that interview or I don't know, but that dress she was wearing was on the worst dress list this morning. And I have to be honest, I do understand why, because that dress was not nice. Also from White Lotus Drama here, I've been talking a little bit about this on my channel. Walton Goggins, who was rumored to have an affair with his co-star Amy Lee Wood. There was so much drama going on in the press about them, and they were following each other on Instagram, unfollowing each other. He walked out of an interview being furious when he was asked about it. Everyone was speculating that something had happened there because the way they were acting was just so weird, and there was just so much tension there. Anyways, he showed up with his wife yesterday on the red carpet, and they've been together for, I think, 20 years. And they were trying to show some love on the carpet, and it got so awkward. And I just felt like watching it, I just like cringed. And then she tried to kiss him or ask for a kiss. And it was just like, oh no. Yeah, I think this is one of the most cringe red carpet kisses I've ever seen. And there were two of them even. And the way he looked afterwards, I was like, oh no. And of course, some body language experts have analyzed this as well and saying, you know, it looks like there's some trouble in paradise. Anyways, I hope him and his wife works things out. Also, someone who was trying to get attention yesterday was Megan Stalter from the TV show Hacks. She's also in Lena Dunham's new show Too Much, and she showed up on the red carpet in jeans and a white t-shirt and just like little black ballerinas and a bag with the political statement saying ceasefire. I thought that her outfit would have something to do with her being political with that bag and saying, okay, I don't want to take attention away from this message that I have to the world. But she actually said that the reason why she was dressed like that was because she wanted to bring jeans back to the red carpet like it was in the 90s. And I was like, why would anyone still watch award shows if people would just dress like they do every day? The whole point of an award show is to watch what people are wearing. People don't really care who wins or what they say in their speech. They just care what people are wearing. And if everyone's just going to dress down, I think that is the final nail in the coffin for all award shows. So Megan Stalter, I think you have to make a little more of an effort. Anyways, there's also a story in Daily Mail about why Sutton Foster, Hugh Jackman's girlfriend, is not really hanging out with Blake Lively. As you know, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are really tight. They're really best friends. And Blake Lively and Sutton hasn't really hit it off, according to some sources here. I think this is just really speculations, but I've never seen the couples together. I don't think I've ever seen a photo of them together. And Sutton has been with Hugh Jackman for a while now. And we've seen pictures of him being on the red carpet supporting Blake and Ryan several times during this last year, during this whole It Ends With Us drama. But Sutton hasn't been nowhere to be seen. And of course, it hasn't been easy for Sutton to start dating Hugh Jackman. As we know, there's been so much speculations that they actually started going out together before Hugh Jackman got divorced from his wife, from his ex-wife now, Deborah Lee Furness. So what this article is basically saying is that Sutton deals with crisis much differently than Blake Lively does. Since Blake Lively got involved in all this It Ends With Us drama, she's been out on red carpets and, premieres and events. And when Sutton was dragged into all this drama with Hugh Jackman, she just pulled away to not draw any attention on herself. The complete opposite of Blake Lively. Yeah, I don't think I need an explanation for why Sutton doesn't want to hang out with Blake, if that's the case. I wonder what Hugh Jackman actually really deeply down inside thinks about Blake Lively. I would really like to know that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, please do, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah, we
Bye.
flawsome talk.